What's up, everybody? Well, today I am here to bring to you another vacuum that is in my vacuum collection. This time it is of another Taconi machine. What I have for your viewing pleasure today is a Riccar Supralite model RSL5. This is the top of the line of the Supralites back then and is the older version of the Supralite, which those have now taken on the R10 design, which is a little bit update compared to this. And this is the older predecessor model to that. And I essentially bought this for curiosity's sake of how the predecessor model would be to the R10s. And this is essentially an equivalent to the R10P, which is the red hood version that is top of the line with the metal brush roll and the lifetime belt, which that vacuum is still being sold today. So I ended up getting this on eBay for surprisingly cheap, cheaper than this normally would have been sold. And quite honestly, I got an excellent deal on the machine. Definitely got quite a bit for the money. And you know, a lot of people these days is they always want the best deal on something, and they always want the bang for your buck. So I ended up ticking off both of those things on my list by getting this, which this was the top of the line of the Supralites back in its day. So anyway, with that said, let's go ahead and give a walkthrough of the machine. So this being one of the high-end models of the Supralites back then, it does have the 2-speed function on the switch. There's low speed and then there's high speed. Interesting handle design, I should say. It's very ergonomic. And as we move along down here, the outer bag is in very nice shape. The only problem is you have this little nick right here, which is not too big of a deal. And to get access to your bag, you have the zipper here, right there, and you can get in. So inside it does use the Riccar or Taconi. Let's see if I can give you a better view. So Riccar F-type bag, and it is mounted here on the back. You just push this to release the bag off. So if you want to dump it, or dispose of it, I should say, and it'll just snap in whenever you're ready to use it. One thing I do like is the bag is very nice and large, so you can pack quite a bit of stuff before you need to change the bag. And these bag mounting systems were okay for their time. They seemed to do the job. But I do like the updated design that came later, which was much more convenient. But it does have a nice large opening, which definitely helps performance, because these Supralites were basically made as foils to the Auric XL uprights, which those were the best-selling lightweight uprights on the market. But unfortunately, those didn't perform as good until Riccar stepped into the lineup and made their own set of lightweight upright vacuums that perform about as good as 2 of those Aurics, maybe even better. And so right here you do have your nice double R back-to-back logo for Riccar. This was the later design that Riccar did for their Supralite bags. You also do have obviously the cloth right here and your nice little vinyl trim on the side with HEPA filtration. And so as we move along down here, we got this nice copper color on the hood on this. That's one thing I loved about these RSL5s, is this nice copper color tone for the hood. Here it does have a lifetime belt. There's the Supralite logo right there. And it is made in the USA, albeit from globally outsourced components. And right here it tells you where to place your foot to release the vacuum into its vacuuming position. What you will notice right here is this is actually a little LED indicator for the lifetime belt system. There's actually a little Hall effect sensor in there that basically acts as a serpentine system that detects the belt movement as it's spinning the brush roll. And if it detects a blockage or a jam in the brush roll, it will detect it and the light will start flashing and it'll shut the motor off to save it from damage, which is very clever and convenient. It definitely helps out the people who are usually careless when they're vacuuming. So definitely helps for saving the motor and the belt from eventual wear. So let's go ahead and flip this thing underneath to show you the underside. So down here is its metal brush roll, which has incredibly stiff bristles, and these do have replaceable brush strips, which is a nice thing you can do as the brushes start to wear out. But the only thing I do not like about this is the orientation of the bristles. As you will notice right here, the suction path is right down here. And the bristle pattern, weirdly enough, directs the dirt away from the suction channel. I don't know why that is. I mean, I do know that Riccar essentially just copy and pasted the brush roll design that they've used on their other vacuums, like the Vibrance or the 8 series or the 4 series or the 2000 series, which those have the suction channels over there. So I'm not too sure why Riccar did it on the Supralite. If anything, I really wish they did the bristle design backwards, so that the bristle design would direct the dirt towards the suction channel right down there, instead of just directing the dirt away from it. Of course, the brush roll still produces incredible agitation, so at least that's something to compensate for that. And one thing I do like about this is that these little latches here on the bottom do allow the bottom plate to pull off easily to change your brush roll out, or your belt if you need to. So yeah, we'll have to like roll the belt back on the brush roll straight. I'm not too sure why it's tracking off to the side like that. Okay, there we are. So there was one thing I corrected on the spot right there, and now it's starting to do it again. I don't know why, but alright, there we are. Alright, we have it. And you just saw me correct something on the spot. So as you will notice, this does latch in place, but be careful not to pinch yourself in this little corner like I just did. So now we will go ahead and show you the model number to the cleaner. This is the model RSL5.2, which this does have a little bit more upgrades over the original RSL5 model. It's 120 volts, 60 hertz, 5.5 amps on the motor. Made in the USA with globally sourced components. And there is the serial number for this. I'm not too sure how to serial date these, but I want to say that if I'm reading this right, this was made in December of 2012. Interesting. This thing is a little bit newer than I thought. I thought this would have been made in the late 2000s. You know, the design definitely dates from the early to mid 2000s. So, and right back here is the fill tube design. Right here you do have a little cord mount right here that runs up the spine of the vacuum and connects up to where the main handle switch is. This is very similar to an Oric in its design, but it does take some things upon it to improve it to make it better than an Oric, and quite frankly, this thing definitely outperforms an Oric. This thing has twice the suction and airflow and agitation than one. Part of that being is that the fan is a lot larger, and the motor in size is a lot larger as well. And the fill tube is also bigger as well. And the opening right there is improved upon, so this thing will definitely outperform any Oric on the market. Well, if anything, this performs about as good as the XL21 while having admittedly much better agitation than that. So now let's go ahead and release the cord. This thing interestingly has a metal bottom cord hook, which is kind of nice. I do like that. That's one thing they have, that those were definitely prone to break over time. So they tried to skate around that by making that metal. So with that, let's go ahead and plug this guy in. And we will go ahead and turn this thing on, and we will demo it for you guys so you can see this thing running. So first we will go ahead and start it off on low, then we will work it up to high speed. There's low speed, and here is high speed. Yeah, as you will notice, this thing definitely has a little bit different of a sound than the later R10s would have, with the exception of the R10E, which basically that one's more an entry model that still is designed like the RSL machines. And part of that reason the sound is different is, one, the fan blade design. These earlier ones had a 7-blade fan, while the later ones used a 5-blade fan. And interestingly enough, this does have its own unique sound versus the later R10s, that those almost sound like an Oric XL Classic with their 5-blade fans. But other than that, let's go ahead and give you a demo of this machine cleaning. one's pretty good. Definitely has quite a bit of power to it. Don't let the small, compact, lightweight appearance of the vacuum fool you. These things pack quite a punch. Well, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this video on the Riccar Supralite RSL5. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.